welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing kind of like the year-end Shop My Stash outcomes. I have been doing Shop My Stashes throughout the year, as many of you know, because I do like to keep my beauty space curated. I live in a tiny house on wheels, if you happen to be new here, like the kind you see in HGTV. Yeah, we're weird like that here. But what I do is I always want to keep my makeup as curated, as organized as possible. And sometimes that means revisiting stuff that I've had for a while or new stuff, kind of deciding and decluttering through the year. And that is the best way I have found to keep my tiny beauty space organized and keep everything in here that I love and be able to gift to other people as well. As many of you know, throughout the year I also do giveaways with fresh makeup, so that way I'm not taking on every little thing I get from my like subscription boxes. Things I love to give back to you guys anyway, because sometimes I already know this isn't gonna work for me, so I give it away. No sense in putting it in a Shop My Stash or anything. But I have gone through a lot of makeup this year, and as you guys have seen on my channel, I've done a lot of declutters because of my Shop My Stashes. It helped me to realize, hey, I thought this was good, I retried it, and then maybe I tried it again, because sometimes I need a third and a fourth time to try stuff, and then I've decided, you know what, it's not working, I don't like it, declutter it, or it's given me a new appreciation for it. So let's talk about my Shop My Stashes for 2019. I do want to give some credit where credit is due. And Kelly Gooch, you gave me this idea to kind of like let you know where did I land at the end of the year, because that just makes the most sense, doesn't it? After I've talked all year long about makeup and products, I'm going to go through some things right now and letting you know where my head is at with the things that I still have in my collection. Shop My Stashes actually saved me from getting rid of some amazing products, because sometimes you forget how good something is. It falls off your radar. It's something that you're just like, oh, it was good, but it's not a name brand that makes me memory-wise think, oh, I should keep this, because you forgot how good it was. So this is why my Shop My Stash was one of the reasons it was so great for me this year. You guys even let me know when I thought about getting rid of this. You were like, girl, put that in your Shop Your Stash, try it again. The Crown palette. This is a palette. This is the Crown Pro palette. I think, was this called the Enfuego palette? There's like no name on the back of it here. But all of these warm, fiery colors, I had this in my Shop My Stash because I was really thinking I would declutter it. I was like, it's so one note. Even though it's got a lot of variety of these fiery colors, I was still thinking, you know what, I have a lot in my collection, maybe this isn't top of mind, yada, 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 yada. And then I retried it in my Shop My Stashes, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And so many of you in my comments were either saying, one, oh my gosh, I forgot about that, let me pull it out. Or two, you were like, no girl, you give this some love because this is awesome. It just fell off your radar, and that you love it still to this day. This baby swatches beautifully. This baby blends beautifully. This baby wears on my eyes. Oh, you guessed it, beautifully, because I just said it a million times. Yeah. Yes, this is a very warm palette. It's very much like the Naked Heat, so there's a lot of similarities in the swatches and in the eye looks, but these things are still so blendable. Look at how quick those swatches went on. Stunning. Even though my Shop My Stashes absolutely helped me to declutter some things that were just ready to leave my collection, it reintroduced me to stuff that I'm like, I'm shopping my stash. I already have this and really like it. I love the post-it on the back here that said, liked it a lot, from my Shop My Stash, like, notes. As you guys did just see in my recent declutter, I did go back and forth several times about that Violet Voss palette. I did just declutter it, and I know I was going to get one or two people saying, I can't believe you're decluttering this. It's one of my favorites. It's a holy grail, and that is so awesome. I do gift those things to some ladies that my husband works with. He works with a lot of ladies, and so he came home and he was like, Nicole, they were so excited because I gave them a bunch of highlighters that I had also been kind of like weeding through my collection, and that palette, and someone was so excited to get that, and that makes my heart so happy because I do have a lot of eyeshadow palettes. As you guys have seen through my videos here, I have a lot for living in a tiny house, and so if I'm not using something, it makes me happy to be able to give it to another person who's like, yeah, I maybe can't afford makeup, or I don't have access to that kind of makeup, or I don't even know what makeup's good, I just, you know, go with what I got here. So I'm so happy to be able to gift those things, and I heard that one was a big hit, so that made my heart happy. Another palette that was in my Shop My Stash, I feel like I'm starting with eyeshadow palettes. Like, why? I don't know. I just did. This big baby here, she is gorgeous. This is the Zodiac Love Signs palette from BH Cosmetics, and I talked about this a lot at year end last year and the beginning of this year. So I kind of pulled it into my Shop My Stash to remind myself how much I liked it. And I do. Like, I wasn't even wearing any of these shades today. I had on a totally different eye look from the Tati Beauty palette. And then I couldn't help but want to go over here into this Libra shade and dab a little bit of shimmer on my eyes. Went into this highlight for under the brow in the corner. Even just to dress up a very neutral, classy look. This sucker does amazing. But I've also pulled out some bold pigmented look with this, and I just think it does great. I'm still happy this is in my collection. I have kind of rotated it out a bit, but I'm starting to rotate it back in more for the colorful shades. Kind of piggyback off of that though, yes, I kept this BH Cosmetics palette, but I did get rid of another palette earlier this year. It was the All Mattes 28 color palette. It was really nice. It was just something I wasn't reaching for, and I noticed that my tastes had kind of changed since I got that palette originally. I liked to build up color on my eye when I first started my channel because I was still really figuring out how I liked makeup on my eyes, how I felt about it, and now I know I like more pigmented shadows, and I like to be able to layer and blend and add and smooth and do all the things that palette just wasn't as user-friendly for me and where I'm at with my makeup journey. So I also decluttered that earlier this year as well. I'm not going to go through everything I've decluttered because I don't even have the mind capacity for all of that. Some of it was, you know, mascaras that have just gone bad, but were surprising, like the Jordana ones. But these are just some things that were more top of mind with these. Something else that I rediscovered this year that now is a staple for me, and this was one of the things that I tried 3 or 4 times because I was like, do I like it? Yeah, I do. And then it would fall off my radar, and then I'd go back and forth and back and forth. But now I'm back on to the Brow Gal powders here for my brows. We've talked about this recently. I can't even start my eyebrows now without it. I do this with a combination of other things that I've told you guys about in the past, but this sucker has made it in my rounds of Shop My Stash, and I'm so glad I did those videos to rediscover how much I actually like these and how much it fills out my brows. Now that I've changed my hair color to a bit darker too, it's really helped kind of like amp up my brows to complement things rather than maybe be a little more patchy. Sometimes brows just need more than one piece to get them to look full and beautiful and maybe a little bit more natural, and this product has absolutely helped with that. So doing this Shop My Stash saved my brows, literally. A skincare item that I put in my Shop My Stash that I was kind of like wishy-washy on was a BoxyCharm skincare item, and it was mostly because it was a different type of moisturizer to do in the evenings at the end of the day, and it is the Pharmacy Honeymoon Glow. I actually have constantly been using this since that video. I like to do my full skincare like take off routine at the end of the night, and then after my skin kind of settles a little bit, put this baby on, just a pump or two, and it does a great job. It's not broken me out. My skin is kind of sensitive too, so the fact that I can trust that I can put this on my skin and in the morning my skin feels soft, it feels like it's got a nice glow to it that isn't oily or cakey or anything that makes my makeup the next day have issues. I like it, and so I can definitely tell you, where is it at now? I don't even know. It's down to like here or something because I've been using it consistently. Something for skincare that I'm not the biggest fan of, but it's still made it through my Shop My Stashes. I'm going to talk about this more at my year-end videos, but this is the No Pore Blend Prime Essence. This is the one that's just kind of very liquidy and watery. We all know I love the sister product to this, which is that No Pore Blend Primer that's like that creamy filling, fills up these pores so they don't look like they are just taking over my face. This doesn't do that, obviously. I think this is supposed to be like a tightening serum. It's not really worked that great for me thus far, and I keep going back and forth to it, but then I find myself going back to the things that I know work well, and this just for my skin hasn't been it. So it's still in my collection, but it's kind of like, is it gonna make it through all of 2020? I kind of doubt it, but let's find out. Another product that I didn't know if I was gonna like, but I did put in my Shop My Stash and found I did really like it, was the Wander Beauty Lotion. It's the Catch the Light lotion. Especially right after surgery, I wanted a very natural look. This really gave me a nice highlight that was natural. I could wear it on my body or on my face, and I liked it a lot. The actual liquid product inside, a little less, mostly because I'm an oily skin girl, but I wouldn't have even tried this if it weren't for really my Shop My Stash after that BoxyCharm video. This made me rediscover it, go back to it, and remember how nice it looks on the skin. And normally this type of product, I would just immediately be like, no, 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 but surprising me. This one was a surprise. Same with the Artist Couture. So we got Artist Couture in our BoxyCharm box, 2 years ago? 2+ years ago? And it was more of a golden shade that was really nice, but I don't gravitate to loose powders. I don't gravitate even to this loose powder, but this did remind me how nice the Artist Couture, how nice the Artist Couture formula is. That's hard to say. This one is more purpley. It's the Purple Dreams one. It's really nice. I did only open like 2 of the openings on it, so it would be less powdery. But I mean, anything that's a loose powder is always going to make Nichole cringe, just because that's not how I like to do makeup. It's a little difficult, but it really does look beautiful on the skin. I'm not sure how well this is going to show up. It's a weird gray sunny day outside here in Florida. The purple tone to it is nice, but that's not going to be something I reach for all the time, obviously. But it did remind me how good this formula was, so I wasn't quick to declutter it like I was the previous one just because it's a loose powder. And for me, that is personal growth. Speaking of some shimmer and some glimmer and some beauty, let's talk about the Laura Geller Baked Blush for a minute, because this sucker is still a top favorite blush for me, because it's not like overly powerful, but it gives this beautiful subtle glow, and then you can see a little bit of reflecting to it. It's so stunning. Putting this in my Shop My Stash reminded me how glorious it is, and this is the one I've been reaching for like for about a straight week now. Another blush that we can all agree is stunning is the Note blush. This one is in the shade 05 Desert Rose. This one is a lot more pigmented. It's still super buttery and creamy, but you can see that it has this beautiful corally orange tone to it that I think looks beautiful on certain skin tones. I happen to like it on my skin tone with my hair color and everything as well, but it is very pigmented. So I would take a more fluffy brush, not a packed brush, and just kind of like tap into it and lightly go off of it. You might even want to tap off your brush, but this is one I reach for a lot too. I'm not a big blush girl, so when I like a blush, I feel like it's important to bring it up. Okay, so something else that did make it through my Shop My Stash rounds, but I still don't find myself reaching for it, but then when I do, I am reminded, I can't talk today, how good it is. And it is the Pure Bronze and Brighten palette that we got in 2018 in January, I want to think. Like in the pan, and when you feel them, they feel a little interesting. They come off really bold, but when you wear them on your face with brushes and apply them, it looks really great. This bronzer looked crazy intimidating at first, and I've always said you can do a fake tan at home with a big fluffy brush with the bronzer, apply it all over your body, like on your chest and your arms and stuff, and that gives you a nice faux golden tan that lasts. I really liked that. That was a tip I had when we first got this. This highlighter is also really beautiful, and I feel like Ipsy is kind of repedaling this same Pure highlighter in a lot of their bags, because I did re-get this in one of those. And then there's the blush that's a corally tone that I like, but it is very pigmented, so you need a lighter hand with it. I feel like I don't reach for this a lot because we've gotten so many face palettes this year from BoxyCharm, so even though this was reminded in my Shop My Stash that, oh, this is good, this is quality, I still have yet to really reach for it a lot. So I keep moving it in my beauty space, and you know how I feel about that. So this one I'm still on the fence about, I think. So we're gonna have to see in 2020. Do I use it? Do I reach for it? Or is it time to pass on the Neapolitan ice cream looking face palette? I don't know. I don't know yet. Do you still have this, and do you still like it? Tell me that story, because I'm really curious. Oh man, and this one too. This one keeps being brought back up too, and it's because I'm vain. And I really like the packaging. It's weird. This packaging for the Tarte palette, why do we love these palettes so much? Because it's a beautiful clear mirror. But this is the Volume 3 palette that I think we all just agreed this is a highlight, not an eyeshadow. Because on your eyes, you don't see it. You really have to use your phalanges with these products through your fingers. It's really important, otherwise you're not going to see much color payoff or pigment on your eye. This is great for summer when you just need that natural glowy goddess look, because the shade tones in here are all very highlight similar. Not a lot going on as far as variety goes, but they're beautiful. I have worn them as a highlighter, but you guys just saw me do a big declutter and I got rid of 8 highlighters. So I did think about pulling this out, but I knew I wanted to kind of give it a little bit more Shop My Stash love before I made that total commitment, because I have a lot of great highlighters and I don't necessarily need to pull out and what was supposed to be an eyeshadow palette for that. I don't know, maybe I'll see how this works for the following summer, maybe, I don't know. You guys know how I feel about storing stuff I don't use. I'm not a fan of it, so I'd rather gift to someone if I think someone else would like it. But I also just really like the bougie packaging. Why does packaging do this to me? It does. Ooh, the Pure Festival palette was something that we got this year, and I put this in my Shop My Stash, and I have used it and loved it a lot. I've even compared this palette. I forgot how good it smells. Every time I open it, I forget. And then I'm like, oh yes, there's that waft of like, I don't know, chocolate waffle cones, waffle ice cream cones, maybe that's what it is. I like that there's a lot of neutral variety in here. If you remove the pink and the sparkles and the purple, you have a lot of neutrals, or you have these pops of color. I reached for this a lot in the summer and right before my surgery because I was really enjoying them. And this was the palette that kind of reminded us all that Pure actually does make some good eyeshadow palettes. We got a few duds in there in the middle, but this one reminded me how good it was, so I kept reaching for this a lot earlier this year. Ooh, the Cover FX palette. I've recently talked about this too, that this baby is something I put in my Shop My Stash because I wasn't sure with all the face palettes we were getting. How do I feel about this? Because the highlighters for me were like, nah, okay, kind of subtle. The brightener though, that baby puts some shine on your face, and who doesn't like that? I mean, come on. But the contour is a lot like a bronzer for me. I can build it. I can definitely give more of a smoldering look or a more natural look as far as like chiseling out cheekbones, you know, giving you that lift that God forgot to give you with the higher cheekbone. We could fake it out with this. The blushes are pretty good too, but the powder's pretty amazing in here as well. I rediscovered this again through my Shop My Stashes, and then I did those whole would you rathers, and this baby kept coming back up because of that. So thought it was worth talking about again. Oh, you guys know I almost decluttered this several times from Shop My Stashes, BoxyCharm, like reviews, things like that. This is the Naked Cosmetics palette, and this is that highlighter palette. I recently decluttered more highlighters and kept this one instead because of the pigment. This has a lot of beautiful pigment to it, but we all know we don't really reach for purples and pinks and greens and blues all the time. I mean, if you do, that's awesome. I don't really tend to. So I was noticing with like my Wet n Wild singles and a couple other singles I had, they were in this like hue, this tone, but it was taking up a lot of space. So this was kind of like the best of both worlds, where I got to keep some of these fun things that I could use for eyes or face or anything else I want all in one, and it's smaller pans, so I have more likelihood of using them all up. But they're very pigmented. They're very beautiful. They look great on the skin and on the eyes. So I was really happy that I didn't declutter this because I almost did. I was like this close to decluttering this, so I'm glad I kept giving it another chance for my Shop My Stash. There's a reason I do these Shop My Stashes. It's to really remind myself, do I want to keep it or do I want to declutter it? This one made it through, and I'm glad it did. I got two more palettes in front of me, and I feel guilty about talking about these because these were in an earlier Shop My Stash, and I was like, these are my first big palettes I bought myself, and I was so excited and so proud. And I was really interested in the Lorac formula, and I just don't feel like I touch these at all now unless it's in a Shop My Stash. And this is the Lorac Pro palettes, the 3 and the 2. They're really pretty. I'm reaching for a lot of neutral colors right now, and this one right here is clearly a neutral, so maybe I should pull this into a new Shop My Stash to see if I want to keep it. And then this one is the 2. I think I bought this one first, maybe I bought that, I can't remember. I just remember thinking that this would be beautiful for fall, and it is fall now, and I have not touched this, so maybe I need to put this back into my rotation. I feel guilty for not using these two. They're pricier items. I think I got them because a family member gave me like a gift card to Kohl's, and I don't shop at Kohl's that often, so I was like, oh, what kind of makeup do they have? So I feel guilty that I feel like I passed these through my Shop My Stash, but now I don't use them. And again, I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, so I feel like I do need to be mindful of what am I keeping versus what am I using. Do I still like this formula? I remember liking this formula, and I remember thinking though that this one was more buildable, like you needed to build a little bit more. But I think I'm gonna have to do a revival of trying some of these things again. Guys, my Shop My Stashes really take a lot of time to like prep, curate, plan, and then film, use, along with subscription makeup boxes too, because you're trying those to do videos for as well. So sometimes I feel like, yes, I've kept some amazing things. And then sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, it's time to declutter that. but then I want to go back and revisit some things that I'm like, why am I still not touching these? So stay tuned, be subscribed and hit the bell for the upcoming videos that I'm going to get in depth with these things, I'm sure, again. Plus, I'm about to do some major year-end videos, so you don't want to miss those. Year-end, here we are. Thank you so much for watching. And if you happen to be new to my crazy little channel, hi new friends, I hope you take a quick moment to hit that subscribe button down below to see all of the fun, loud, weird, swatchable, unique videos I do every single week. Bye, friends.